Hello, welcome back to From Soft Serve. Today I'd like to formally announce a new Dark Souls 2 mod, which is a partnership between AoiYozora, the creator of the Seeker of Fire, Seeker of Fire 2.0, and Tales of Drangleic, player enhancements, mods for Dark Souls 2, and me. And basically I'm handling the visuals, and AoiYozora is handling the things that they're so good at, of many things, mechanical changes. So this is Dark Souls 2, the Definitive Edition mod. And that is an aspirational name, as we obviously have Vanilla DS2, Scholar DS2, and I think the goal would be to have a third version. Not for first playthroughs. I still recommend people play Dark Souls 2 in either vanilla or scholar variations for their first playthrough. But for the Definitive Edition mod, basically, it will include all of the things that you've known me for, of shadows on the grass, and dynamic shadows added to most of the game world. Bonfire shadow casting. A recent thing I figured out, but I haven't actually talked about, that I'll show later in the video, is the torch pyres that you can light with your torch. I've never figured out how to make the light from those shadow casting, but I've actually figured that out. So that'll be included in the Definitive Edition mod as well. Upgraded textures. I've gone through almost every single texture in the game, almost, and it is upgraded. Upscaled usually by 2x. Usually 2x. If you go 4x, it's not really worth it for most of the time in terms of like sizing and actual visual benefit. Like a 2x is really going to give you the best bang for your buck there. And so you get that and better water reflections. There are commonly, like in Hyde's Tower of Flame, there are places where they didn't actually reflect everything. And that actually is mirrored through a lot of the game. There's a lot of reflective water that had only a couple things reflected, but it actually missed out on a lot of what could be reflected. So I fixed that, and all of that will be included in this mod. But that is not the interesting stuff, personally. I don't find that stuff terribly interesting versus what else you get in the Definitive Edition mod. You will get, for instance, when you are standing, you can click the left thumbstick and it will jump, instead of having any sort of needing, like any sort of running before you can jump. Now, of course, if you prefer the normal way of jumping in Dark Souls 2, you can still do that. So there's no change to that. It's just if you want to do a little bit more precise jumping, you can now come to a full stop and then do a whoop and then do a jump. Combat has been slightly revised to have a little bit less delay between actions. And it's basically AoiYozora of the experience of working on player enhancements, Seeker of Fire. This does port over the filters for the maps and how they kind of look from Seeker of Fire, because they're so awesome that there's not really a good reason to, oh my god, I almost died. And so now you'll see something here. This is a change for sure. There's now a statue here, as the point of the Definitive Edition mod is to bridge the difference, or take the good things from both Scholar and Vanilla, because they both did good things. Like, Dragon Eerie is 10 times better in Scholar, and Vanilla basically did, I think there's a lot of areas in Vanilla where it wasn't as bang-bussy, and that I think is superior in some ways. But Scholar also had some other areas where they actually made some good changes. So that's where this mod sort of is taking the good things from both of those, but also venturing a third path of a third version of the game, at least in my head canon. Let's use the Fragrant Branch of Yore, because I've never actually gone back here, because it will have revised layouts for enemies. There'll be new enemies in areas that weren't there before, and yeah, alright, dog. You didn't drop anything? Outrageous. And there's also different summons in some areas. Some And if you had seen on Twitter, you would see what I posted about, which would spoil it, so maybe don't go there. A lore-accurate summon in one of the DLCs. Very cool and very cash money. Okay, let's sneak up on this bitch-ass, because I didn't kill him. He's going to sit on me. Ow, ow. Oh, my. Oh, he got a triple hit. Now, you'll see I can walk when I Estus. It's a very slow walk, so it's very DS3 style. I like that change because I don't think it actually at all impacts whether you're going to live or die, for the most part. Unless you have, like, projectiles coming at you and you can very slightly move. But most of the time, you're still going to die if you're in trouble and need to Estus, because life gems will be a little bit quicker. But you'll see the Estus was actually, a little easier. You can kind of walk, and it just feels better. I think that's the thing for me, is that it didn't alter the balance of the game. It just made it feel a little bit better because you're able to walk and not come to a full stop. So I think there's a little bit more flexibility there. Yeah, look at these beautiful dynamic shadows that were added for this plank. So now it makes a little bit more sense maybe to you guys why I was working on vanilla like so hardcore, is that AoiYozora had DM'd me and was like, hey, your work on vanilla kind of inspired me, and I have an idea. I want to cook a little bit. And I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. I love that. Cook away, my dude. And that was the idea of sort of mixing the visual side, which is what I'm good at, and then AoiYozora, which is amazing at mechanical and gameplay changes, but visual as well, actually, with map changes. The mod's still being worked on, of course, but there'll be map changes to add in like more distant detail and different things. So I can't say I'm doing all the visuals, because that's actually not true. But yeah, here, you'll see the point light. I made this one shadow casting, so that's on my end, where I'm making a lot of these point lights shadow casting. And this one, I manually added a point light so that you actually have a shadow underneath this, and it's also being illuminated. Before, they had this candle thing lit, but there was no actual illumination coming off of it, which was a little bit weird. And so you're kind of getting the best of both worlds, I think, in this mod. Now, I will say, I will be doing a separate mod that is purely just visual. If you want to play Scholar and not have any gameplay changes, as obviously that is going to be the case. There's going to be people who just want to have a Scholar experience, and that's where I'll have a mod for that. And that mod will include the upgraded textures, dynamic shadows added to so many things, and point lights and torch sconces. And that way you'll still benefit from the better texture and mesh LODs, and you can play Scholar. And then obviously I have my vanilla DS2 remastered mod, which has basically the upgraded textures, the added dynamic shadows, texture and mesh LODs, and better water reflections. But what it doesn't have is bonfire shadow casting on every bonfire, because that requires editing a param file that doesn't play nice with vanilla, and vanilla lacks mod tools support sufficiently, where Scholar doesn't have that problem. And that's a shame, but it also is what it is. So basically everyone benefits. If you want to play a better looking version of vanilla, boom, got you covered. If you want to play a better looking version of Scholar, boom, also got you covered. Now, if you want to play an enhanced version of Scholar, well, not of Scholar, but it requires Scholar, but a third version of DS2, reimagined a bit, but doesn't lose the core of what makes DS2 amazing. And so that's been sort of my headcanon, is that this mod isn't to win over people who don't like Dark Souls 2. That's not the goal. The goal is give a wonderful experience for those who would like another trip through Drangleic, and sort of it smooths out certain issues. Yeah, I do have a shadow issue a little bit in things betwixt. So because I added shadow casting to the sconces, as you can see, they actually are casting a shadow beneath the sconce, but it also casts a shadow on my character now, which is really cool. Problem is, there's a lot of torch sconces in this area, And so you get a bit of a problem where it's turning off some of them. And then you can see it's culling the shadow that it's casting. So this might be a case where I have to disable these because it's hitting the shadow limit of the engine. And that is not something that would be fixed by DS2 lighting engine, which I also haven't talked about yet. But let's also enter a fog wall because the fog walls are quicker. When you enter the mist, whoop, you go in. So is it massively different? No. I don't think it's like an insane difference. But it is different enough that I think, you know, it makes it a reasonable improvement that I think was sort of difficulty that was not fun. I don't think that was fun difficulty. And that's part of the Definitive Edition mod. Oh, I do have a flame butterfly. Oh, bitch ass. Okay, little bitch. Okay. Woo. Is there a torch thingy to light in here? There usually is. Hell yeah, there is. Okay, so I modified this as well. And let's light that. And so you'll see it cast shadows. It's also casting shadows on the environment. So you actually get this really nice player shadow. And then it hits the environment as well. Now here's where the precision jumping comes into play, where usually I got like a running start on this, but sometimes I'd end up running at the wrong angle just slightly when I hit the button. So here you can go to a full stop, and then I just click the stick, and it was a lot easier to get across. And I think that's the big thing for me, is that was just a lot easier. Whoop! Let's light the torch again. Okay, thank you. So I do need to watch the shadow limitation of the engine, as that is just something that is a known issue. I'll dive into the params fresh again. Oh yeah, let's light this one as well. Nice. Oop, there's another fog wall. Yeah, so the shadowing is just such a huge improvement for the look of the game. I absolutely adore it. I can't see shit, Captain. You can also see the game is slightly darker. That is down to a couple different things, but I would say mostly that there's the filters from the Seeker of Fire mod that are kind of baked into this and modified. Ooh, yeah, isn't there something here? Is there a fake wall? This feels fake wall-y. Am I wrong about that? I guess there'd be a message. Which, speaking of messages, is it compatible online? Well, I personally have always subscribed to the idea that there's no guarantee of super online functionality with the Souls mod. Like, there just isn't 100% guarantee on that, because there can't be. However, I personally have been developing it and testing it the entire time, and I have had no issue online. As it's not like making whole new files or completely, like, I think the only problem we're going to run into is with the map changes, there will be objects that are in your world that if you get invaded by someone else will not be there. So that's like if someone had Seeker of Fire and then someone didn't. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of an issue. It could work. That's like my Dark Souls remastered mod, where I'm like, I honestly, like, I don't recommend playing it online, but that was Dark Souls 1, and I heard of some issues, but most are fine. I play it online, and it's fine. And some were kind of like, had, I think, more desync, and so it's really hard to test. So for this mod, I'd be like, I'll let you know if anything happens, but personally, I've been playing it online, and it's fine. I even got invaded yesterday, and I got my ass handed to me. I got invaded like twice. It's crazy. But yeah, look at this gorgeous shadow. And sort of a little bit of the elephant in the room is, why am I not using DS2 lighting engine? Well, there's a few reasons. So, does it support DS2 lighting engine? Yes, of course. You can absolutely use DS2 lighting engine with this mod. First reason, doing texture upscales. My Scholar mod I did last year, I I use DS2 Lighting Engine to dump the textures and then upscale them from that, and I could upscale them more in bulk that way. This time around, I was doing the classic style, where you actually crack open the texture files manually, and then I can go and I unpack each texture file also, and then inside that, I upscale each texture to on its own. So no bulk upscaling, so it took longer, much longer, significantly longer, but it was worth it. So that was one reason, is I was going to do that instead of using the DS2 Lighting Engine texture replacement system. So here, you don't need to put anything, if you are using DS2 Lighting Engine mod, you don't need to put anything into your texture override folder. This mod is installed the classic way, and you basically, it's just in the texture files, boom, done, the game loads them, and DS2 Lighting Engine will have no problem with that. So that's the first reason. Second reason is by playing vanilla DS2, I actually fell in love with the original aesthetic. And that's the aesthetic that lives on in Scholar, right? They didn't really change that, as far as I've been able to tell. And that includes the skyboxes that I've upscaled, specifically. And DS2 Lighting Engine, by default, removes those. Now, there's a toggle in the settings that turns it back on. And then if there was a preset that would have to be made separately, that then handles that to keep it on. But even then, by default, the look of the areas is different in DS2 Lighting Engine. And I only noticed this by playing vanilla DS2, because I think I had mostly always played DS2 on PC, and I hadn't played it on console with the Lighting Engine, so I didn't know any different. And I think Lighting Engine is beautiful, don't get me wrong. I think it's a great mod, I think it's amazing, and I think it looks awesome. And I'm not saying the look of the areas is bad. I think it was just away from the vision that I had, which is to look exactly like vanilla and what Scholar did unmodded, but just better with dynamic shadows. And so slightly, it's also slightly different here because of the filters of the Secret Fire mod that are baked in. But I actually think those are super faithful to the original vision, and I think just add in some contrast and some different things and coloring. And so I think it's still, in my mind, what I want it to be. And the problem is you have these filters and this look, and DS2 Lighting Engine, it's not a one-to-one translation. And I don't begrudge DS2 Lighting Engine for that completely, as I think the default preset, there's a lot that goes into that, and you're ripping out the entire graphics engine, so I understand that. But I do think I was noticing that I just wanted it to look like vanilla and unmodded Scholar. And so that's why I've decided to mod basically without DS2 Lighting Engine for this. And what I'm running is basically, because you can't use DS2 Lighting Engine and reshade at the same time. They both operate on the same dxgi.dll folder or file that hooks in, right? So all I'm using here is Marty McFly's Immerse MXAO, because that'll handle better ambient occlusion, which is something that DS2 Lighting Engine also does. And then FGFX LSPO irradiance, so it's large scale perceptual obscurance irradiance. And it basically, whenever we toggle it on or off, what you can see is that it adds a bit more color to the scene, but that's not really its biggest thing. Its biggest thing is trying to understand from the sun and the light that's in the area what should be dark and what shouldn't be dark. Although personally, I think I'm actually preferring, it's something I've been struggling with. I'll tweak it more, because I do think it has a lot of benefits of making some interiors darker. But there are cases where I don't as much like it. And that is the benefit of DS2 Lighting Engine. You can tweak each individual area, and it's not across the board. So the good thing with this mod is you don't need to use reshade at all if you don't want to. Because I'm also using the anti-aliasing, which you can see on the tree right here. This is with anti-aliasing, the SMAA from Marty McFly turned on, and you can see it's a little bit better. And then without, it's a little rougher, because by default they use FXAA, which is what DS3 ended up using as well, and it's not great. So the SMAA here I found a little bit better. And less disruptive on the image at large. But the good thing is you can use what you want or none of it. Like there's even levels, which levels I think is kind of cool, in that it actually adds a good amount of contrast to the scene where it can seem a little bit washed out. So this gives a little bit brighter highlights, and I kind of like that. But once again, not for everyone. But that was sort of my idea, is that if I can give a really amazing baseline that is just the original aesthetic, but better textures, more dynamic shadows, and basically enhancing the original look as far as possible, I think you can have amazing results, and then you can go beyond that and tweak it with anything you want. Ray tracing shaders, ambient light, which is actually, the ambient light one is actually really cool, but I think it does rob the scene a bit of contrast, but on purpose. It's meant to show that the light over from the sun should be affecting the coloring on objects. And so that's a personal preference. That's what I like about reshade, is it's just like, oh, turn that on, turn that off. It's really simple. And you can tweak them too, of course. In reshade, when you're in performance mode, you can't tweak them, but when you turn it off, you can actually go in and like change the amount of ambient occlusion and the strength of the anti-aliasing. And so there is tweakability, but there's also just a really easy way of like, oh, okay, let me test that one out. Oh, that one kind of boosts the colors. I kind of like that. And it's kind of a personal preference. And I prefer that. I think it's a more controlled experience. Versus DS2 lighting engine is in flux because it is a mod and it's being updated, and there are some changes to areas, like lighting gets altered in a new version in an area, and so I guess for me that becomes out of my control when I release a mod. If I specifically require like DS2 lighting engine, my vision for the area may not be upheld by an update to DS2 lighting engine. And I don't begrudge, once again, I don't begrudge the creator of the mod, because it is their mod and it is their vision, and it is, but, you know, it's sort of, that was something that I was like, all right, I got to wrestle with that. And that was just not ideal for me. But it will be in the mod description that you can totally use DS2 lighting engine, and it will bring a lot of cool enhancements. But I think you will get an absolutely fantastic experience with just DS2 Scholar Steam version, no DS2 lighting engine, and you can use reshade on top of that. I'll give recommendations for which shaders to use, but even by default, I think you'll get a tremendous experience that looks great. Oh, did his shadow load in? Oh, shit. That's really weird, because it's casting the shadow here and from my character. Interesting. So the shadow system is a little... Oh. Interesting. Did I go a little too far on the shadows? So this is what my testing is. Because there's bonfire shadows and more shadowing in general, you do run into this issue where the shadows will turn off. And you can see here it's at a very specific angle. So I don't know if it's... Oh yeah, it even turns off that. I'll probably turn off the shadow casting from this point light, because I don't think it actually ended up looking that good. It ended up being that weird pattern of like inside the lamp thing. So I'll turn that off. That might help. And basically I'm trying to get to the point where they will load and not yeet them out of the engine. But one benefit here you can see is McDuff is now casting a shadow as he's hammering. And so it's sort of like a reward for lighting that, getting him to move from on top of the chest. And I think it's really cool. So that was something I actually noticed last night, where I was like, oh shit, that looks awesome. Glad I made this video so I can fix that. Cut down on the shadows a little bit. Let's go into Harvest Valley. I will be updating the vanilla DS2 mod, because I finished the 3 DLCs in terms of texture upgrades and like certain point lights and whatnot. So the vanilla DS2 mod should be closer to completion. Not done yet, as I'll still be tweaking between the 2 versions. But it's a lot closer because it's an easier mod job. there for sure. Yeah, let's go into... Oh, that guy looked cool. And so this is all just with DS2 Scholar and the Definitive Edition mod installed on top. But this would be the same experience you'd get with if you purely wanted the visual changes. Trying to get into a good combat. Maybe we fight those guys. Ooh, I didn't get that item. Really? Oh, it was a Fading Soul. Now you'll see the ambient occlusion doesn't play as nice when obviously there's like fog or something. Oh my god. Okay. Hey, be cool. See, now that's where the walking Estus actually did help me, because I was able to continue my momentum and then dodge that projectile. But I absolutely maintain that that is the case where, like, I don't know, it just, yeah, that was difficulty that I don't think was actually that fun. But yeah, so the good thing is you actually don't need to use the MX AO if you don't want to, because the in-game AO I actually still have turned on. I'm not turning it off by like modding. What I mean is like in the actual graphics settings. And so you'll see it adds a little bit of depth to each of the skeleton there. And you know, it can actually add the occlusion to the boards, and I think it actually is totally worth it. But if you want to disable it and only have the ambient occlusion that is by default in the game, then you absolutely can. And that's what I love. This mod is not locking you down into too many crazy things. Also, check out the bonfire shadowing. Pretty sick. This is one where it really benefits from it, because it already had objects in here that were set to shadow cast. And so now you get this beautiful shadow. Now, you might be wondering, well, why did DS2 have some shadow cast and some not for their bonfires? I don't know. I assume it was more of a performance related thing, even though it's literally just one shadow inside the bonfire room. But there may have been something that influenced that I'm just not aware of. But yeah, I honestly am in love with how this game looks, with the filters and the dynamic shadowing changes specifically. Because honestly, Dark Souls 2, the strength was always its, or should have been, its lighting system. And they ripped out a lot of that. I wouldn't say they ripped out, they disabled. Oh, you bitch ass. Hey, oh my god, it's a bang bus. Well, it's not a bang bus, it's two people. I'm just playing real... Hey, they're poisoned, so that should actually benefit me. Yeah, walking while you're Estusing is less a gameplay change and more of just like... I mean, it is a gameplay change, but it just feels good. And it's more about game feel. And it's a slight modern, like, quality of life thing. Now, the other thing you'll get... subtitles on. Always... You bitch. Oh, I shouldn't... Actually, no. Damage me again. Damage me again. Shoot your flames. Bitches. Okay. So, watch this. I am hurt. And then let me put this on my bar. So now, the human effigies actually heal you to full. They basically function as a humanity that also brings back your, undoes your hollowing. So it's a bit of like, you can think of it as a hybrid between the Ember and the humanity. And you can also walk while you human effigy. Now you have full health. Now, it's not like humanity in that you can't keep popping them, because you fixed your hollowing. So that's what I think balances it, because you can't use them again. That is sort of like your safety heal, because also using human effigies as your heals is, you don't want to do that too often, because they're obviously a very valuable item in the game. Woman, ... what's that dog? Oh, shit in my ass. You surprised the shit out of me. Also, you can see the nice new texture. Well, not new texture, but upscaled texture. Looks pretty sick. Hey, what's up, dog? How's it going? But yeah, it's a darker Dark Souls 2, and more reliant on the torch. And that's why I wanted to boost the shadow casting that you get. Ooh, I'll add shadow casting to this point light. I haven't gone through this area yet. yeah, I'll be able to add shadow casting to some of these point lights. Not all of them. I try to pick the ones that will make the most impact because of the aforementioned shadow casting limit of the engine. I never want to impact the bonfire shadows or the shadows that are being cast from your torch, because that was an issue with my mod last year, is I went a little too ham on the shadows. So sometimes when you're in Lost Bastille, there was a problem where your torch like would just turn off, and you were like, oh, fuck me. All right, well, I kind of need that. So that's something I have to avoid, because that was dookie. That was some real dookie right there. You bitch. But now you'll see this area is very much how it is. Okay, fuck me in the... Oh, I'm out of Estus. Well, this is awkward. That's gone. Okay, Dragon Charm. Another feature of the mod, oh, you bitch ass got poisoned, is slightly faster chest opening, specifically metal chests, because they were like awkwardly long in the unmodded game. Like, it was just weird. That's another one where like I didn't think it was a fun difficulty of, hey, it's really difficult to open chests. Like, that one to me just was like, that is not a fun change. So also there's some varied move sets a bit with weapons, like with how they function, and I think, yeah, there's a little bit quicker recovery from some of the animations and whatnot. But once, damn son, oh my lord, what game are you guys playing? Are you guys playing DS3? Because I know I'm sure as hell not playing DS3. Just so you know. Yeah, let me gobble up all my dragon charms. Ooh, there's a fucking item over there? Oh shit. Okay, let me suck down this. Wait, I got full health. How did that work? What? Oh, did those mushrooms do full health now or something? Bitch ass. Wait, that jump is... That's too big of a jump, right? I feel like that's too big of a jump. Well, we're about to find out. That is too big of a jump. Oof. Oof. Let's log on to a different character real quick, because there's a change I want to show to a boss that got done dirty in Dark Souls 2. And I'm talking real dirty. And Yozora and I both agreed that they should be buffed. That's some of the other things. There'll be some bosses with expanded move sets that had cut moves, or like Pursuer, for instance, had moves that were either super rare that didn't commonly happen, like that sort of purple ball blast thing where it like shoots out of his chest. That, for me at least, only really happened when he came up later in Lost Bastille and some other areas, but he wouldn't do it when I met him in the actual place in Forest of the Fallen Giants, or when he first lands. And so now that's been changed, so where he has a more varied move set now, and it's pretty sick. So he's actually a little bit more difficult, because that's certainly an issue that Dark Souls 2 had, is a lot of the base game bosses were not great in terms of difficulty. Yeah, let's go for Carl. Honestly, this doesn't like massively overhaul them, so I don't think it's going to magically make them way more difficult. It doesn't. But I think it is a move in the right direction, where it's a little bit more challenging. I need to look at the skybox again, because I upscaled it, but it looks a little grainy. And it was grainy to start with, to be honest, but I usually fix the graininess on all of the skyboxes. And these are the skyboxes I didn't want to get rid of, because I think they're gorgeous. And okay, that distant map piece over there, I also have to take a look at. Some of these are not completely fixable, but I have taken a look at them, and I will try to degrain them a bit. But just look how amazing this looks. Just Scholar with like 2 reshade things turned on, and the filters from Secret of Fire. It's just amazing. I think that was my other big thing of like, when I was playing it, I was like, damn, I think I had gaslit myself into thinking that like DS2 lighting engine was 100% like required for the game to look good, and I've been just completely disproven by going around the game world, and I'm like, holy shit, this game looks fucking awesome. And DS2 lighting engine obviously makes improvements. Don't get me wrong, huge improvements. But I think I'm satisfied with the visuals. I think with the dynamic shadows and the textures and the filters and it just looks fucking awesome. So, elephant in the room. Oh no, I'll use that as my heal when I need a very, very... Ooh, okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to use the stamina recovery. So let's face off against the one, the only. Might be fake Ornstein. Fostein. But look how little damage I do. I always felt like Ornstein did a little dirty here. In that he was kind of a pushover, which was always weird to me, because if he truly is Ornstein, or just someone, you know, inspired by Ornstein. But yeah, you'll see he's a little bit tougher. I think he does more damage as well. I've been testing. I need to do more testing. But, you bitches. I think this is where I actually added like a shadow casting point light or spotlight. I think. The mod's pretty expansive, so for me to remember everything, it's not great. I'm actually doing pretty good. I got the Hide Knight sword. Which, speaking of that, objects will also be in different places sometimes, like where the DLC keys are. They're a little bit easier to get this time. Now, are they as easy as vanilla, where it just barfs it at you at the beginning of the game? Absolutely not. Because that was kind of awkward. Useful, but awkward. But then Scholar, the way they made you get DLC keys was a little annoying, to be honest. Like, I was like, this is quite a bit of work here. And so now they're in an interesting spot, and I won't spoil where, but yeah, a little bit easier. So things like that. Oh, I don't think you've hit me yet, dog. No, I think you hit me once. I'm actually doing really good, but it's a lot more difficult in terms of health. I'm in the zone. I've been playing a lot of DS2 lately. I killed Fume Knight last night. But not only that, I killed Fume Knight wearing Velstat's armor, and specifically his helm. So Fume Knight goes into phase 2 right away. It's fucking sick. I've never done that before. It took me like under 10 attempts, I think. Oh shit. Oh shit. Hey. Which, speaking of Velstat, he's harder as well. I always thought he was a bit of a pushover in Scholar. In Vanilla, I was very surprised to see that Velstat is fucking difficult as shit. And there's a reason for that. Velstat has a move that he barely... I never saw it in 500 hours. But he has a move where if you're close to him, he'll actually swat you away. And it's very... it enhances the difficulty quite a bit. And then I think the actual like amount of times he'll do the ranged attack is more. And so I just killed Velstat like I think 2 days ago, using the Definitive Edition mod, and yeah, AoiYozora's been cooking up some good stuff, because he's a little bit more difficult. Okay, I'm doing pretty good here. I'm doing pretty good. I haven't made too many mistakes. But the good thing is I think new players... Now this character is not like super leveled up. I think it's like level 29. And let me check my sword here. Yeah, unupgraded weapon. So nothing too crazy. It's a pretty good weapon that I got a drop for, which is nice. We're getting lucky with that Hide Knight sword I dropped in my last couple playthroughs. But mechanically, I think for most players, specifically like DS2 players, if they haven't played it a ton, I think this boss will be pretty difficult. Because look, I'm halfway now, and I'm still fighting him. What's up, dog? How's it going? I'm too good. I'm too good. I'll say that and I'll get absolutely ass blasted. Oh, I also killed the Ivory King last night. That was pretty sick. Ooh, I actually hit him on that. Dog, you gotta try a little bit harder. Okay, fuck. Yeah, he does more damage. Shit. Okay, hey, be cool. Oh, I'm just whacking. Oh, fuck. No! So he's definitely one where if you do make a mistake, you're gonna fucking pay for it, which is what I wanted. But if you do the dance and you dance between the attacks, it feels pretty satisfying. Like there, I was having a lot of fun because I was admittedly dumpstering him for the first half, but you have to really hone his sort of like, or your craft on your side and then his moveset. But I think it's a good example of like, does it make him into a DS3 boss? No. And it doesn't make it painful for the player. I think it's just to make it slightly more engaging is the idea. So this isn't a mod that is to completely like win over people who don't like Dark Souls 2. I was talking about that earlier. And I think personally, the mod I would recommend, it's not out yet, but I would recommend you follow Half Grown Hollow on Twitter. And because they are working on DS2 Absolution, which you may be aware of, is a mod that looks at like hitboxes and enemy AI and so many of the, and like fogwall iframes and so many cool things. I'm so excited for that mod. And there's just amazing work going on over there. And I think that is more so the mod for people who didn't like a decent amount of the DS2-ness because it also fixes just a lot of things. And so I'm actually really excited about it. But this mod I think has a bit of a different thing. Is it's I'm trying to think of a good way of describing it. I'm still working on it. It's very new. It's the first I've talked about it since Twitter yesterday, so I'm gonna parry your bitch ass. That's what's gonna happen. These spear guys are the fucking shit in my ass. Oh my god. Okay. Hey, bro. Dog. Oh, I don't even know what my ADP is on this character now that I'm thinking about it. Hey, I'm using your sword to kill you. Fuck. I'm only gonna kill you if I can parry you. Okay, well, just so we're... Oh, I didn't even talk about... You'll notice the bonfire is in a different spot for this area. Because it didn't actually make a lot of sense for the bonfire to be... I mean, I guess it was like a reward for killing Ornstein, but it's also just awkwardly in a box down there. So you're kind of like, what's the... Why is there just a box with a bonfire in it? And so I actually really like this placement of the bonfire because it gives you kind of a little place to rest. You've made it past the shitload of enemies down there. Not really shitload. But enough. There's enough. It's a challenge, but it's not. That's kind of the goal. Oh, we need to... Hold on. Let's log off this character because I actually want to go to Shrine of Amana, which is not something I would normally say because fuck that place. But that's a part of the mod is that I went through there a few days ago testing it, and it was great. Like, it's still difficult, but it's no longer like shit, where it was kind of shit on both versions. It was not fun to go through. I think that's one where they went a little far. And yeah, so now it's like, it's actually really fucking cool. I'm really happy with, because I didn't do anything about it. I just overhauled the visuals, right? And, you know, way more things reflected in the water and the shadows and yada, yada, yada. You know all that. It was a pretty big uplift in visual fidelity. But the filters are awesome. Fucking awesome. So let's go down here. Like, look at... Oh, my God. So a big benefit here is obviously the dynamic shadows. That adds so much to the look of this game. Ouch. Okay, okay, what's up, dog? Can I parry your bitch ass? Hey, don't attack me, okay? Hey, fucking target. Hey, how's it going? Do you not see me yet? Okay, well, I was pretty sure I was gonna parry your bitch ass, but I did not hit the button. Okay, didn't hit the button. Okay, didn't hit the button. Alright. It's still difficult. But once you get into like where everyone's like a fucking sniper from 6,000 miles away, That's been fixed. Ooh, Slumbering Dragon Shield and Archdrake Robes. So the benefit of changing the sconces or torch-related things to Shadowcast is now you get this beautiful shadow that gets cast on the player and the environment. It's just, it's such a huge uplift. Okay, I gotta take a screenshot. Sometimes it do be like that, you know? Damn, he fell hard, dog. It's a good screenshot opportunity. Let's go a little bit deeper in the Shrine of Amana. What's up, dog? How's it going? I didn't make these torches shadow casting, as once again, you have to be really careful not to make too many things shadow casting, but oh my god, this was totally worth it. And then you can light your torch off of them, which I wasn't even aware of until I was like, oh shit, you can actually walk up and... Okay, I think the way that they shadow cast now basically boosts that, but like, look at this fucking area. It's always been a beautiful area, don't get me wrong, it absolutely has been. But now it's like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. This is also my first time actually using the Majestic Greatsword, which is Artorias' weapon. And I've had it before, I just never got the stats. So I actually used a Soul Vessel, because you actually need 20 intelligence and then 20 whatever the hell the other stat is. What is that? Oh, faith and intelligence. Yeah. I knew that. I totally knew that. Don't come for me with that. But yeah, the shadow casting is, it's so beautiful. I'm such a hoe for cast shadows. It's crazy. You all know this, obviously, by watching the videos. You would 100% know that. But, like, look at this fucking area. Stunning. The added water reflections for... A decent chunk of the things were already set to reflect, but I made sure that everything did. And it's just, it's beautiful. And I upscaled that ceiling texture. Fucking cock-ass, bitch-ass, taint-ass, hoe-ass. Okay. Sorry, YouTube. Don't demonetize the video. But honestly, it's a lot more manageable. It's difficult, but it's manageable. And I think that is the goal. It's still very much DS2. But it's just, you know, just a reimagined version. Basically what Scholar was to vanilla, but with less questionable choices in very certain areas. I think a lot of changes with Scholar were good, but there were some that were a little... That's why I found it to be a side grade between vanilla and Scholar. I don't think it was like a massive, huge improvement. It was sort of like, oh, okay. That's nice sometimes, but playing all the way through vanilla, I've been like, oh. For some reason I thought this would be like really bad, but it's not. It's great. And Scholar is mostly just different. I was surprised to find that, where I was like, I guess I don't understand why they felt so compelled to make Scholar when I feel like they could have just updated vanilla. But, you know. Or if they did Scholar, they just kept more vanilla and just made smaller changes on certain things. But I don't know, it just wasn't that substantial to me. Wait, can I go in here yet? I don't remember. What's up, bitch ass? How you doing? I don't have a health bar, so I'm not going to actually know where you're at. But can you fall off? Fuck yeah, you can. Don't I need to be human? I think that's the... I can't say I'm really happy that they're fucking shooting shit at me. Okay, let me just pivot. Pivot. Humanity restored. Thank you. Thank you. It's still locked. No, I have to do something else, right? Now, there is a funny lighting transition here. Hilarious. I don't really know why FromSoft had a transition like this. I'm assuming you went like this, and then it wasn't as noticeable, but I don't know, man. It's pretty fucking noticeable. Anyway, I've been talking too long, and I need to drink more coffee. So, thank you for watching. Your main takeaway is, look out for more progress. Here's why I was going so hard on DS2. There's going to be an option for vanilla lovers, scholar lovers, and ideally a third version of the game that people could play. Maybe not really for their first playthrough, but they could if they want. But I would prefer they play vanilla or scholar for your first playthrough. But then you have a really cool one through Drangleic, and it's different. And there's lore bits, and there's cool stuff, and quality of life. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun and beautiful, as that's mostly what my job is it's beautiful. So I appreciate you watching. Hope to see you on the next one.